course, and today we are ranking 9 chicken videos today. So what I'm going to probably do is make it a little bit different for you for about every ranking video, is put them into different categories based on their different cores and which one will be suitable for each course. That's why I put them into different categories so you guys can see which video fits into which. That's why I did that as well. So what I'm probably going to do is probably do like a voiceover on my little categories that I've sort of made as well, so you guys can see, like, it's going to cast a picture, but I'll probably just say a lot of things about it during my voiceover. So let's get into it, shall we? So our first villager is Ava, who's a Norwich. Well, as you can see, I've put her in like 2 categories. So first off, I put her in cottage core and farm core, because one thing, if you sort of look at it by looking at her design, she looks like more like a cottage core sort of villager, although her house interior might also base that and her exterior might base that. But when you're looking at her farm core sort of aesthetic, she looks like a chicken, doesn't she? That's why I've related to both cores, so you guys can see. But what I'm probably going to give her is a 10 out of 10, because I've had her before, but I'm trying to remember what island I had her on, but I think it was definitely my first island. But she was one of my starters, and the thing is, her starter house wasn't the best. But when you get a starter villager, you know you just want to fill another them and you just want them to stay on your island. But she didn't stay on that island for that long, so that was quite sad. But if you guys do like Ava, I'll let you guys decide if you want to go high or low, or you're doing it from like tier list, or you're just going to rank them out of 10. It sort of depends really, but let's get to the next one, shall we? So our next villager is Becky, who's a snooty villager. Well, as you can see, I had to put her in elegant core, because I couldn't think of any other cores that she'd probably be related to. So if you guys are looking for elegant core villagers, I recommend Becky. But as you can probably sort of see, is that I've given her a 4 out of 10, because one thing, her snooty personality is not like the best when it comes to looking at Becky, and plus I'm not the biggest fan of her, and plus I don't like her that very much as well, because its design's a bit put off a little bit for me. And if you guys are looking for a chicken like her for like elegant core, I would recommend her. If you guys are a big fan of her, go high. If you don't, just go low. I don't mind, to be honest. Let's get to the next one, shall we? So our next villager is Benedict, who's a lazy villager. Well, I did have him as my starter villager on my other island too, so it sort of makes sense that I might probably give him a high. So what I'm probably going to give him is be like a 9 out of 10, because I wasn't going to go 10 out of 10 straight away. I was just thinking, why not just give him like a little bit of a low, a little bit of something like that. But again, he's still one of my favourites half the time, because I used to have him as one of my starters. So I had 2 chicken villagers on my other island, but then before you know it, they were left straight away. And plus, he didn't even last longer on my island either. He literally wanted to leave, and I thought, okay, Benedict, I'll go and village hunt for somebody else. But the thing is, he could also fit in kid core and town core islands, because one thing is, I'd sort of noticed when it came to Tiger's, Sedona Let's Play, she used Benedict as a town core villager, so he could be either kid core or town core villagers. So if you guys are looking for town core villagers or kid core villagers, recommend Benedict straight away. Okay, so let's get to the next one, shall we? So our next villager is Buffina, who's a snooty villager. Well, the thing is, I already had her on my other island at the time, but it was unfortunate that I actually got her, and it was a lot of mixed opinions when it got to her a little bit, and plus she wasn't the best snooty that I was expecting to show up on my island in the first place. But I was after somebody else at the time, so you sort of know what I mean. You get the wrong villagers at the wrong time sometimes. You get someone random like a snooty villager, and sometimes that gets a bit complicated at times. Well, that's why I've given her a 2 out of 10, because one thing, her design's too exaggerating, and plus she looks kind of mean a little bit, so that's what I mean by that really. But if you guys are a big fan of Profina in particular, then just go high and disagree with me. If you guys agree with me, then go low. I'll recommend it. But I have also gone with 2 cores to go that fits into our category, which means she could be either in egg and core or cottage core, which are both similar things. Well, egg and core, you can get creative, use all the villagers you can sort of get that could be purple or anything that like that. But she does definitely look like elegant core, because her interior was elegant core at the same time. So that's what I sort of mean by that really. Let's get to the next one, shall we? So our next villager is Egbert, who's the lazy villager. Well, you might have sort of noticed him before, because when I literally put that video out when I was trying to how to shorten down villagers' names, you might have recognised him. Well, the thing is, he is also on my farm core island, sunflowers. So, only reason why I picked him because of his design. His design sort of looks like a regular chicken that would love to live on my farm core island. So that's why I've recommended him as a cottage core and farm core sort of villager in particular. But also, he's also one of my favourites, but I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10 because I wasn't going to go 9 out of 10 twice, so I was just being a bit, cautious, but also quite, tempted to go around that area. But he is definitely a good video to have on your island. But if you guys aren't big fans of Egbert, you guys can go alone because I know there's not a lot of Egbert fans out there that I sort of noticed when it came to froggy crossing, etc. But if you guys do agree with me, then go high. I don't mind, to be honest. But the thing is, I have sort of noticed is that when you go inside his house interior, it looks like a cottage sort of vibe. So that's why I went with cottage core. But although he's also a farm core villager in particular, that's why he looks like a chicken. That's why I went with him as well. So there's two reasons that you can have him literally in two cores. So one is cottage core and farm core. But if you guys do want him on those two islands, I'll just recommend him. Okay, let's get to the next one, shall we? So our next villager is Goose. He's a jock villager. Well, I sort of recommend him on the farm course side because I couldn't think of any other categories that he could be involved in, so that's why I went with the farm course sort of aesthetic with him. The thing is, I've not got him on my farm court island because I thought, well, I don't want another jock. I don't want like a jock villager on my island for some reason. I was thinking maybe not a jock villager, so that's why I went with Egbert, for example. So there was two options that I could have gone with, Goose or Egbert. Well, Egbert sort of won on that sort of part, but the thing is, I'm not sure what I sort of gave him a little bit, but I think I gave him a 7 out of 10 because he could have got a bit much higher, but I do like his design. But if you guys are like big Goose fans out there, then you guys can go low. But if you guys are big Goose fans, just go high. But well, I'm thinking he's a good recommendation for farm core, even though I didn't pick him in the end. So let's get to the next one, shall we? So our next villager is Ken, who's a smug villager. Well, he designs sort of leads to like a Japanesey ninja sort of core that I'm going with right here. So that's why I've given him Japanese sort of core to be his main sort of thing that you guys can include him in. So I was thinking, because Japanese core definitely is now popular these days, you might want to do a Japanese core island. If you guys are interested in that, then you could always go with Ken, for example. Well, I have given him a 6 out of 10 for sort of a good reason, is that they could have done much better for him a little bit, although he's actually brilliant. But if you guys can sort of disagree with me and go 8 out of 10 if you want, if you guys like Ken in particular, or if you don't, then you can go low if you want to. But I was sort of drawn to myself thinking he looks kind of cool, but he's also a bit underrated though. But I'm thinking if he had more fans, I would give him the higher sort of like a higher sort of grade for him, to be honest. So let's get to the next one, shall we? So our next villager is Knox, who's a cranky villager. Well, I only just in one core, which is very cool because he looks like a knight in shiny armour, but there's a lot of underrated opinions when it comes to him a little bit, because not everyone's a big fan of Knox for some reason. And plus, he's not one of my favourites in particular. He's kind of one of my least favourites. But that's why I've given him a 3 out of 10, because I don't know why, but I just don't like his design for some reason, which is why I sort of put him in that sort of position for some reason. But if you guys aren't big fans of Knox in particular, then you guys can definitely go low for him. If you guys are, then you could just disagree with me on this. But I'm probably going to say is that he could also be included in Gold Core Islands because of his design. He's got like a golden knight sort of helmet something. But I'm not a big fan of the night villages. That's why I give him a low for some reason as well. So that's one of my other sort of opinions as well to go with that. Let's get to the next one, shall we? So our last villager is Pucky, who's a sister villager. Well, I have sort of seen her on Sedona lately, on Tiger's Sedona Islands, so that's why I sort of suggested cottage core and probably town core, because although she could fit farm core as well, but there's definitely no difference about it. So that's why I've given her 2 cores into one. So if you guys are looking for a town core villager or a cottage core villager, I will also recommend Plucky for you, because Plucky is definitely a town core sort of villager in my opinion, and also in Tiger's opinion, because she's got her own Sedona right now, although she's going to do a new island soon enough, to who knows. But I've also given her an 8 out of 10 because her design's like, you know, definitely unique. It's different. It's not like there's sort of like a different variety of chickens that they look like that, but she's definitely different from all the other chickens, and plus she's kind of the kindest because she's a sisterly bitch. So that's why I've given her a lot of like fabs with her. So let's get to the last bit, shall we? So I did want to add some categories in there as well, because I thought maybe to make my ranking videos sound a bit more like, you know, sort of fun, put them into categories so you guys can sort of decide which videos you want for each core and that stuff. I thought maybe make it a bit fun doing like that way. And also that's what I would probably say on that sort of part, really. Make sure to leave a like on this video, and if you're new to my channel and want to see more of my content, please subscribe, because there's a variety of content that you might enjoy, might involve Utopia content or Animal Crossing content. But at the moment I'm still doing Animal Crossing content, but I also put like a schedule out, like a video schedule out for like, you know, my Iron Tour videos, which is like, so I post it like every Friday for you guys, because at the end of the day I want to do different videos throughout the week. So I was thinking if I schedule like every Friday, but if I have like a few complications, a few like disturbances when it comes to that sort of thing, then I'll let you guys know in advance, but by making like another video so you guys know in advance and that stuff. And also turn notifications for further Animal Crossing and Metopia content from me. That's what I can say. Goodbye from Animal Crossing, and I'll see you in the next one. So bye.